So, Pharaoh, what are
Oh,
you going to do now that you've completed this project?
I'm going to Disneyland. You can't tell. Look at the
Okay,
smile of joy.
serious question.
Right.
Recording these pieces, sharing experiences from the military, was that at all cathartic for you?
I had some good days. It's like the song. I've had some good days. I've had some bad days. I won't complain.
You gonna sing for us?
Oh hell no. My voice is shot. Um, I've had pleasant experiences, and I've had bad experiences, and I've had troubling experiences. Um, Originally, the CD was gonna be like maybe 2 or 3 tracks, and it was just a little something for Veterans Day. But when you think about who you are and where you come from, both my grandfathers in World War I, wounded, mustard gas and shrapnel. My father was in World War II, Korean conflict. My mother was an Army nurse. Um, I had a brother in Desert Storm. And due to the fact that the window wasn't closed when I went in service, I got Desert Storm on my DD 214. Like, yeah. Um, Operation Iraqi Freedom until now has also been claimed by my family. So we've been in pretty much every major conflict within the latter half of the 19th century.
Hmm.
But what makes it dear to me is the fact that a lot of people, they see the movies and they don't really understand the complicatedness of what it's like. And so this CD was envisioned and written from the aspect of somebody that was deployed. Uh, I remember the first Thanksgiving that I spent away from home. I was in the service. I was stateside. I just couldn't get that day off. So I called my sister's house. Everybody was over there. It was the first and the last time that I cried on a holiday that I was never home. And that conversation was reinforced by every immediate member of my family at the time, my mother, my father, my sisters. And they was kind of like, this is your life. This is what you decide to do. We support you. We love you. Wishing you something for Christmas. And I was kind of like, well, damn, Thanksgiving, huh? And I cried for a minute. The war was me. I wasn't even in my 20s. That's why I'm going to just say that I wasn't even in my 20s. So from that day forward, every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, 4th of July, any major holiday, I wasn't home. I no longer cried. It was a working day. And so it was business as usual. Um, if you didn't want to eat at the Galleon base, then you just go down to, your unit and eat with the guys at your unit. And they became your family. They became your brothers, your sisters. You know, I was in the Naval Services, so the chief became your father. You know, the warrant officers were like your grandparents. And the officers, well, you just tried to stay the hell out their eyesight because they was usually looking to pick on somebody. But they weren't all bad. There was a couple that was just complete sphincter muscles, and then there was a couple that were complete tools, and then there was one or two that I had that was down to earth. But it was important for me to write it as a tribute from the point of view of somebody deployed to somebody else that has been deployed, so that that story can get out, so that they could be acknowledged for the sacrifices over the times that they missed, the first steps, the birth, the deaths in the family, the trials and tribulations of trying to get home. A lot of people think it's all fun and games. It's all fun and games till you get shot at, and you can't duck behind a car, and bullet go through sand. So it it gets real quick. Um, when you're on the installation or the base and people are trying to breach the walls and they shooting and they shelling, and you sitting down trying to have Christmas breakfast because you already know you're going on patrol that night, so there ain't gonna be no Christmas dinner. So you're trying to have Christmas breakfast and you're getting shelled and they're trying to breach, the base walls, and the base is already cut in three different directions, meaning you got the fort operating, you got your base, and then you got those that are in between the fob and the actual compound. So sometimes they I won't say sometimes, they always monitored movement, so they knew what we was doing. So you pick the weakest times that would demoralize a unit, and they already spread thin. So um, this was my give back. This was my recognition for those that have paid the price, for those that have sacrificed. You know, all gave some, and some gave all. MIA, POW, KIA. They're not to be forgotten. You don't take those people lightly. You don't take uh, those traditions lightly. And sometimes those traditions are all that you have to keep a smile on your face, regardless how good or how bad they are.
So, obviously, it's there. It never leaves. You've been altered as a person. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, how do you manage it?
uh, there's a song that says, "Mamas don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys." Uh, the problem was, I grew up to be a cowboy, became a cowboy, and now it's like my vices are my management. Um, Not to say that I'm dependent on chemicals, but I'm chemically independent. You know what I'm saying? Like, I go and have a drink, and sometimes it's a strong drink. I smoke. Not to advocate that smoking is a good thing, of course not. But you go into services, you go into any armed branch, and you're a teenager. Chances are you're going to look and see what everybody else is doing. You're going to, go back to those same vices that you had before you went in. Alcoholism picks up when you're in. For those that have had physical trauma, you know, pain pills become a release. You know, you men who have been touched have a hard time saying that they have been touched. And then they try to look like they haven't been touched. And they try to look like they're not damaged. And they try to walk like they're not damaged. And it's not just the men, women too, but women are a little bit more quicker to realize, hey, I ain't the same chick I used to be before I got hit by this IED and I lost, my short-term memory. Dudes be like, they bust a blood vessel trying to get that memory back. And so war changes, the soul of a man. It scars his heart. Um, it takes the rose-tinted glasses off about life. When you sitting down and you're in, a 2-hour firefight, or you're in an extract situation and you taking on heavy fire, you start thinking like, damn, these dudes, what about me? You know, and it's not to say that nobody's perfect, not to say that nobody's trying to be selfish, but the first law of nature is self-preservation. So it takes a special individual to be an operator. It takes a special individual to be anything associated with an operator. It takes a cunning individual to do those recon patrols. It takes a lot out of anybody who has to go to war, been to war, and they realize this ain't where I want to be.
Okay. One more question. This is a two-part question. When you speak about the military, there is visibly a lot of pride in
Yeah.
it that I see. So, first part of the question is, do you feel like you lost those years or you were cheated, or do you feel like you gained and experienced that some people won't ever experience. And part two of that question is, if you had to make the decision again, would you do it?
Okay, let me answer part two first. Because it's an easier question to answer than the first part. If I had to make the decision again, would I do it? Knowing what I know now, or just completely out of the blue, not knowing?
Knowing what you know now with everything.
Oh, hell. Yeah, I'd have went back. Um, it wouldn't have been a second thought. Even now, I still flirt with the idea, the concept of re-upping. Um, it's a matter of me just really losing about 45, 50 pounds and being able to pass physical. That's it. That's all. Time in is time in. So they could say, hey, we ain't taking nobody over the age of 40. But if you went in at 21 and you did 20 years, you 41. And the reality is, the American public, a lot of these businesses out here, they don't trust the training in the military. They don't feel that you trained adequately. Whereas you try to give it your all and you can't make half of what you had going on for you then, now, and turn around and go right back in. A lot of people do it. A lot of people did it to just to survive, to get 3 meals in a cot. You know, so for me, when you have kids or you have family, and that you got to provide for it, there's just certain things that you look at, whether or not you want to do them. It's another whole nother monster. But I had good times, I had bad times, I had indifferent times. My worst holiday was the first Thanksgiving. Once that went past, every day was a working day. Birthday, holiday, I didn't. Oh, you missed my birthday, B. I was at work. I'm sorry. Whole new person, whole new attitude. Man, you ain't gonna come out and kick it? Nah, I'm good. I gotta go to work in the morning. What you mean, man? You working out? Yeah, I'm saluting the flag at 8, but I gotta be there at 6, so I can't go kick it with you. Now, for the first part, I won't say that I lost that time. I enjoyed that time. Terrifically, horrifically enjoyed that time.
Even war?
Yeah, it you certain things are unavoidable.
Okay.
You can only pray for the best. You go in at a peacetime and you hopefully think, hey, I can do these first 4. Oh yeah, we got it. We didn't have no issues. I can do this next 4. I can do this next 6. And then you halfway through, and it's like it just got real. And you sit there and you look like, depending on what you're doing, you might be one of the first 3 people that get called up. And I'm using the first 3 as in, not as like it's only gonna call 3 people, but movement wise, movements are effective in 3s. Marines can't get nowhere without the Navy. Special operations can't move forward without logistics. You feel what I'm saying? So it's gonna move in 3: logistics, special ops, and the team. It's gonna move in 3. So you signed up for it. It's your job. Now, whether or not you make the best of it is up to you. Don't nobody want to hear your belly aching. Don't nobody want to hear you complaining. Don't nobody really want to be like, dude, you think you're the only one that's affected?